Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Market Report for Wednesday the 24th of March 2021, where in just a few minutes I tell you everything you need to know about what's happened in financial markets and the world of economics today. I'm Michael Thompson, in the studio this afternoon for Sean Aylmer. The S&P ASX 200 closed up 0.5% today to 6,778.8 points. The biggest gain came from GrainCorp, following an announcement it would expand its core bulk handling business to include other commodities like fertiliser and cement. It expected to generate an extra $25 million in pre-tax earnings by the 2024 financial year. Investors responded well, and GrainCorp closed up more than 6%. It was a bit of a mixed day for the miners, with companies in the sector recording some of the biggest moves in each direction. On the upside, Whitehaven Coal closed up 4.3%, Northern Star Resources was up 3.2%, Rio Tinto climbed almost 2%, and gold miners Newcrest and Evolution both closed up around 1%. It wasn't such a good session for rare earths miner Lynas, recording the biggest drop on the ASX 200 today. It closed down more than 9%. Perseus Mining and Iluka Resources both dropped around 4%. Premier Investments, which include Smiggle, Peter Alexander, Just Jeans, Portmans, Dotti and Jackie E, said its half-year profit to the end of January jumped 89%. Profit for the 6-month period was more than total earnings for the full 2020 financial year. The result, in part, was due to government support, including JobKeeper, as Premier received more than $80 million in subsidies, triggering calls for the group to hand them back. The group's share price closed up more than 2.6%. The Victorian Royal Commission into Crown Resorts kicked off today, and in his opening remarks, former Federal Court Judge Ray Finkelstein said he'd written to the gaming giant asking if the board had accepted the findings of the New South Wales Bergen inquiry. Since there was so much crossover between the two inquiries, Judge Finkelstein didn't want to cover old ground. Unconfirmed media reports said Westpac was considering offloading its New Zealand subsidiary after Westpac New Zealand received an admonishment from the Reserve Bank of New Zealand. It's been told to hold more cash on its balance sheet, as well as commission independent reviews into its liquidity and risk culture. Westpac closed down almost 1%. Cloud accounting business Xero said it will acquire Swedish e-invoicing infrastructure business Tickstar for around $23 million. Xero said it will improve customers' ability to connect to a well-established global e-invoicing network. The company's share price closed up almost 2%. Outdoor advertising group oOh!media said earnings fell 36% last year on a similar fall in revenue. The so-called out-of-home advertising, billboards and bus shelters primarily, was hard hit by the lockdowns as fewer people were moving around cities, which meant the demand for advertising fell. The group's share price slumped more than 2.5% today. In economic news, Federal Treasury Secretary Stephen Kennedy said the unemployment rate needed to be around 4.5% before wage hikes kicked in. Higher wages are fundamental to inflation rising, and not until then will interest rates increase. ANZ said it expected house prices to jump 17% across the country this year, which could trigger the banking regulator to introduce restrictions on lending. ANZ said property values in Sydney and Perth would grow most, by 19%. Hobart prices would rise by 18%, 16% in Melbourne and Brisbane, and 12% in Adelaide. Oil prices continued their slide, with Brent Crude and West Texas Intermediate both falling more than 6%. New lockdowns in Germany, Italy and France, and fears that those economies would again contract, triggered the sell-off. The Aussie dollar is trading at around 76 US cents. And just recapping Wall Street, the tech-heavy Nasdaq lost almost all of its gains from yesterday, closing down 1.1%. The broader S&P 500 dropped 0.7%, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed almost 1% lower. That's it for the afternoon market report for Tuesday, the 23rd of March 2021. Sean Aylmer will be back tomorrow morning for the regular edition of the Fear and Greed Business Headlines. I'm Michael Thompson. Enjoy your evening.